This is level 29 of the event. 10,000 in. 40,000, 80,000 are the blinds.
40, 80. 10,000 in.
Alrighty, let's do this.
Cards in the air.
And here we go, cards in the air. First hand of level 29.
All right, we are back, still three-handed here at Thunder Valley. Jesse with the button. Looks like he made another limp here, Kane. We're playing 40,000, 80,000 with a 10K ante. Taylor completes in the small, and Ravee with a pair of 8s in the big blind. He's gonna raise it up.
Ravee has announced the raise.
Raise to 480.
And the total amount wagered is 480,000. Jesse will fold.
First hand, I love this hand.
That'll lead us to 2 folds.
Favorite number.
That was a pretty big raise there. That was 6 big blinds from Ravee out of the big blind there, and both players quickly fold, and Ravee wins the pot.
With 3 players remaining, next out will receive over 113,000. Second, over 176,000. And first prize, $250,000 plus that WPT championship seat. And Taylor will be first.
Taylor here. The King Deuce.
Raise to 160.
Taylor's going to make it 160,000.
Then raise on the button.
Call.
Ravee makes the call 160. Jesse will fold. We'll take 2 players from the flop.
It's called by a 10-9, and ooh, both players connect here on King Jack 9 all hearts. Ravee gut shot to straight flush draw. We want to get technical, and Taylor with top pair. I like his check behind here. Jack of diamonds on the turn. I think Ravi's gonna bet. Oh, he's gonna check.
I would check the 9-10 as well.
Yeah, actually I forgot that he had a pair here, not just a draw.
120.
The bet is 120,000.
120 is a very, very small bet.
Yeah.
I would have preferred for Taylor to bet bigger here.
Call.
We're going to call up the 120,000. Here comes the river card.
And a heart on the river. It's gonna give this pot to Ravee.
Ravee's first.
You expect him to lead? Or check call?
I think he's probably going to check.
You've had a read on him all day. But not this time. 200,000.
Ravee's going to bet out 200,000.
Taylor pretty quickly folds.
Taylor will fold.
Yeah, Taylor gets out of the way there.
Would you have folded pair of kings there?
I think so, yes. I don't expect him to be bluffing me that much in those type of spots. I think he could just bet I don't know, but Ravee might bet a jack there.
So Ravi and Taylor neck and neck, competing for the chip lead here. Ravi has the ace-4 of clubs on the button. It's a pretty looking hand. You know when you look down at ace-4 and oftentimes it looks like pocket aces? Does that happen to you, Tony?
Absolutely it does. 2 pointy things.
Raised to 180.
But pointy things can't be suited.
That is true. Ravi raises to 180. Jesse folds out of the small blind. Taylor folds jack 5.
Correct.
And people at the Royal Flush Bar sharing their treats with each other and hanging out here as it's been a long three-handed battle between these three players, Jesse Rockowitz, Taylor Paur, and Ravi Sundar. Action is on. Deuces 85, Jesse Rockowitz who folds, Taylor folds, and Ravi wins the pot.
What's my son's name? K7. Your son's name is K7.
Taylor here on the button. Even 4 million. Raising up 8-5.
Raised to 160.
160,000.
Call.
Ravi doing more small blind calling as we're accustomed to. Jesse with jack 4. It's been very sticky in those situations, but we'll let it go this time.
Jesse will fold. We go to the flop.
Check step.
It's interesting. I'm curious as to why he chose to fold the jack 4 after flatting jack 3. Maybe he's...
I think it has to do with stack depth, and there's some ICM at play here. He's the shortest stack of the 3. Pretty good looking flop for Ravi's hand.
Of course,
Bottom pair.
that was the case prior also. It is possible that during the break he reevaluated that strategy.
Yeah.
Fire out.
170.
I don't like this bet from Taylor
Neither
here.
do I. This seems to just drill Ravi's flatting range, and we know he's super sticky at this point.
Yeah.
So I would just be betting good hands for value against him and only rarely bluffing. And there's the call.
We're going to get a call at 170,000. And here we go to the turn.
King on the turn will fill up Ravi's straight.
Ravi will be first.
Check.
To the check.
Both players will check.
Taylor will check.
And a deuce on the river.
River card is out. Deuce of diamonds. And Ravi, that's 700,000.
Robbie bets 90% of the pot here.
I'm surprised Taylor's cards aren't in the book yet. And there they are.
Robbie is on the button with 8-5 offsuit. Now we've seen him raise this once. We've seen him fold it once. Here he re-examines his cards as he makes up his mind. He chooses to fold. Jesse Rockowitz with the 9-9 in the small blind.
He's been very card dead pre-flop. This is one of the best hands we've seen it for him for a while.
Now this is interesting. Jesse elects to raise after he had been limping so many small blinds.
Taylor will fold, absolute rags. Jesse takes one. You gotta think it's unlucky that he didn't get a button raise there. Robbie does not do a lot of button folding.
Yeah, well, again, that 8-5 was a hand that he did choose to raise one time, and the other time he elected to fold, and so now he gets it the third time. And coming off a break, it seems like he might play a little tighter than he does as time goes on, and he's getting closer to a break, and he keeps asking the floor when the break is going to happen. So maybe he gets a little restless as he plays there prior to the break. But what the interesting part about that hand is I'm not sure if Jesse has adjusted his strategy of small blind limping, or if he raised simply because he had pocket nines. I think it's the latter.
Jesse with the ace-7 suited here.
Here, for example, he calls with the ace-7 of clubs. Taylor does not complete.
Looks like Ravi is raising it up here with 9-4 out of the small, the big blind.
305.
Ravi getting creative here, making it almost 4x, almost 4 big blinds here.
Ravi took his option, making a total of 305. And
Jesse shoved, he limp shoved. Interesting.
For 30 big blinds. This is certainly going to show a profit with Ravi's frequencies. My question is whether or not it's better to shove here or to just flat. I probably would have just flatted. What do you think?
I'm not quite sure. It depends how frequently I think that Ravi is going to be raising here. I mean, if we know he's doing stuff like 9-4, it's easy. We haven't seen him blast too much out of the big blind against limps.
And Ravi will fold. Jesse picks up the flop.
Now there you see a shot from the Royal Flush Girl Social Bar, sponsored by Monster. Brittany hanging out all day. keeping everyone company.
Zero cards back in the air. Taylor will be first.
Taylor will pass his 9 deuce, but will Ravi pass 7 deuce? Considering the placement of his cards, I'm inclined to say no.
We did see him fold 7 deuce in the small blind when Taylor raised the button, but now, of course, it's a much different situation with Taylor folding. And we know that Ravi likes to attack those short stacks.
He's gonna make a total of 180,000.
He makes a small raise here. Jesse has 5-8 in the big blind, and from what we've seen from Jesse, he will not be folding. He does call.
He makes the call of 180, so he goes to the top. And that
Both
ball
players
is
whiff
ace of
on
clubs,
ace king
nine
9.
of clubs,
2 clubs.
king of hearts. And Ravi will be first.
Check.
And he will check over to Jesse.
Check.
Jesse will also
Both
check.
players will check that board.
The turn card, 10 of clubs.
Both players with a flush draw. Ravi's higher. Looks like he's going to bet pretty big here.
430.
Ravi overbets the pot here.
430,000.
This goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think when Ravi senses weakness from his opponents, he kind of pounces on that, tries to take advantage of that, and there's no play for Jesse, obviously, other than to fold. So Ravi takes it down with a 7 deuce.
Taylor hanging out, still trying to make history.
All right, here we go, cards back in the air. And Ravi will be first.
And in a good position to do so. Ravi with 7-4 of diamonds on the button.
Taylor's an athletic guy. He plays tennis and basketball. He also enjoys golf.
What's your best sport, Kane?
Bowling is
Bowling.
bowling's my best sport, Tony.
180,000.
We were pretty good last time we played.
How about you? Is it tennis?
Yeah, I would say tennis.
Yeah. Do you golf or no?
Call the 180.
Not well. I
No.
can go to the driving range and hit the balls fairly far, but the problem is, like, I can't really drive straight, like, at all. Not like, oh, you know, it goes a little slice or a little hook. Like, I can't drive straight at all.
Right.
Really, I can hit an iron, but not a driver.
Jesse will check.
Well, that's a problem on the par 5s.
It's a big problem.
Taylor will check.
3-point. This is 3-point.
Check.
And Ravi will check. Turn card. It is the 6 of hearts. Taylor will be first.
You know what though? After playing wiffle ball yesterday, I'm starting to consider that one of my better sports.
Yeah? Wiffle ball. You mean just like baseball?
And Ravi checks.
Yeah, I mean I
Yeah.
played baseball and through high school,
Hearts.
but wiffle ball's a little bit different. It's the way that you throw the ball, the way you're able to put spin on the ball. It's a completely different game. It's a fun game.
Taylor gonna make a little bluff here, and he's gonna get snapped off by Ravi.
Ravi makes the call.
He's got 2 pair, so he collects a nice pot there.
Ravi shows 4 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, giving him 2 pair, and will win the pot.
You can start to see when the energy fades a little bit at the final table. Much less talking, much less movement.
Well, these players have been putting in long hours for several days now, and it's tough. It's a grind when you make it this far in a tournament, this deep in a tournament. Then you get to the final table, and you're on camera all day for hours and hours on end. You're trying to play your best poker. You're concentrating very hard. It's definitely mentally a grind. Jesse Rockowitz on the button with ace-queen offsuit.
Call.
Jesse calls 80,000.
He elects to call, which is interesting because we did see him raise the pocket nines out of the small blind. So the idea that he's going to raise all of his strong hands certainly is not true. And here we have Taylor raising out of the small blind to 245. Now we got Ravi in the big blind with 9-7 offsuit. It certainly would be a standard fold. However, Ravi does put the cards in the muck. And now the question to Jesse is, are we re-raising or are we just calling here with the ace-queen offsuit?
I think he's got to re-raise. He might even just rip. I'm not sure exactly how he'll choose to play it, but he's putting more chips in the spot.
I'm not sure what the benefit would be of ripping instead of re-raising.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure which one he'll opt for.
I would like to see a re-raise here.
I guess there's small ICM benefit to ripping because you don't risk elimination as often, but meh. The other thing is if you go smaller, what's the frequency that you think that Taylor tries to go over the top of you?
595.
He does re-raise to 595. I like the sizing. I was thinking about 600.
Taylor will fold.
Taylor will fold there. Jesse picks it up.
The question is, what is the downside to re-raising instead of ripping? What hands, in other words, is Taylor going to flat with that he otherwise would fold? Hands like Jack 10 suited, maybe?
Yeah, stuff like that, I guess he'll flat with.
And here we go. We'll start off with Taylor.
Taylor with an ace-10 here.
But of course, the other interesting thing is Jesse does not want to get all in there against a pocket pair. And
right.
Of course, Taylor's much more likely to put all the chips in with pocket threes, for example, once Jesse has re-raised than if Jesse were to have gone all in.
Right.
But of course, he's also much more likely to put all the chips in with a hand like ace-10.
Also true.
Which is what Jesse would have loved to have seen happen. Here Taylor min raises with ace-10, and Ravi is in the small blind with 10-7 offsuit.
And Ravi here in the small blind, he's going to make that call of 160.
Yeah, more ambitious small blind play from Ravi, much as we're getting used to seeing from him.
Jesse folds a 10-5, so it does seem like during the break he reevaluated his big blind defense frequencies.
And the flop is Jack of hearts, deuce of hearts, 4 of clubs.
Nobody connects on Jack 4 deuce.
Check.
Ravi checks.
Check.
And Taylor will check. We'll go
Both
to
players
the
check, and we go to the turn, which is a queen of hearts.
Pretty good card for Taylor. Now he has the ace high flush draw, overcard, king high, or king will give him a straight.
And Ravee now has the 10 high flush draw,
Ravee will check.
which if we know Ravee, he probably does not want to fold. What an interesting check by Taylor, and a check that I did not like.
10 of diamonds.
Both players make a pair on the river. Don't know about this bet.
225.
Don't think you get called by much worse, do you, Kane?
I don't mind the bet, simply because Taylor has elected to check back 2 streets. It does look like he can have a hand like a pair of 4s or a pair of deuces. Maybe a hand like pocket 6s. Yeah, I don't mind the bet.
Taylor's going to call the 225.
Pair of tens. Pair of tens with aces.
I don't think that Taylor would check back a jack on the flop that often, and I don't think he would ever check back a queen on the turn.
No. Yeah, maybe at that point you're just so likely to be good, you should just bet it, right?
I think I would.
Yeah.
Ten of hearts, ten of diamonds.
10 of hearts, 7 diamonds.
10 of hearts, 7 of diamonds.
So now ICM becoming a little more of a consideration here between for Jesse and Taylor Paur, who are similar in more similar in chip stacks than they were before. There was a long time where Ravi and Taylor were kind of running away with it, and Jesse was the clear short stack, and now it's becoming a little more staggered.
They're in the halfway point here.
Here Ravi's on the button with 8 deuce suited.
I'm going to draw 40,000, 80,000. And right now it's 10,000.
He raises it up to 180.
Ravi's going to make a raise, total 180,000.
And Jesse is in the small blind with ace queen offsuit. He started the hand with about 35 or 34 big blinds. My guess is going to be that he is thinking of a size to 3-bet to right now.
Re-raise. 390.
We're going to re-raise.
He decides on 390,
90,000.
which is very small. Don't you think, Tony?
It is pretty small.
From 180 to 390.
Yeah, I wonder if Ravi's going to peel here. He's just
Ravee instantly peeled.
Oh, he already peeled.
Yeah, he did not
peeled so
contemplate
quick.
a fold there.
Yeah. And he outflops Jesse.
5 of hearts. Jesse will be first.
Now maybe Jesse made it a small size because he wants to be able to play over multiple streets against Ravee. We have seen Jesse take a real small ball kind of strategy pre-flop, limping a lot, doing things of that nature. Maybe that was his justification for making it so small here, because now we have a pot to stack ratio of about 2.5 to 1, or a stack to pot ratio of about 2.5 to 1.
It's a tricky flop for Jesse to play. It's just like, do you
I
bet
would-
and then bet again if you turn a heart?
No, I would be inclined to check this board.
Yeah.
That's 410,000.
Jesse bets out 410,000.
Jesse, however, bets out a little over 400,000.
And it's all in time from Ravee.
Ravi's declared himself all
He's so not scared. Jesse's just like, ah, crap. I mean,
Now Jesse is going to
I
consider
know,
a call
he
here.
should consider a call. There's a whole bunch of draws his opponent can have.
Ravee did not take much
Yeah.
time to go all in.
In that situation, it goes from having the Queen of Hearts as a good card to a bad card to have, because all of a sudden one of the most likely hands, or most likely cards your opponent would rip draws with, you have in your hand. So I don't blame Jesse for folding there. What a frustrating position to be in.
Do you think perhaps he would have taken more time to consider a call if there were no ICM considerations?
Quite possibly.
Here we go. Actually, it's on Jesse.
Here he's got a 9-8.
About 24 big blinds here on the button, 9/8, and I think we're going to see him call here.
Call.
He does. Taylor quickly throws away the 5-9 in the small blind.
Back over to Ravee here in the big one.
I wonder what Ravi's going to do here. Definitely raise.
Raise to 180.
He raises very small. Very, very small. I don't like that very much.
Yeah, I thought he would have gone bigger. And I thought there was at least some chance he just put a big stack of pink in the middle.
Jesse will be calling here.
Yeah, for 100,000 more, he's not going anywhere.
Call.
Jesse makes the call.
Now it's a Queen Jack 5 board. Ravi's been betting so far, but he took his hands off his chips, and there's the check. You know, Ravi has very rarely checked and then like check raised or checked with a hand that he really likes. I'd be pretty tempted to bet in Jesse's spot because we only have 9 high. We have some equity in the hand, but I don't expect my opponent. Well, the other part is maybe he'll just check call. Oh wow, maybe he'll just check call with ace high there. So maybe not.
Yeah, I'm fine with Jesse's check. I like Jesse's check. The reason why is because I don't expect Ravi to be raising hands that don't hit that board. You know, the lower hands, and then just instantly giving up with, you know, 6-8 or whatever hand like that.
If he's getting fed hands, he probably has a clue that Ravi is opening some weird hands out of the big blind against those limps, and we know he raised, what, 9-4 offsuit or something?
That is true.
Yeah.
But then would he instantly check on that flop? I would expect him to have some type of showdown value when he checks.
180,000.
So here he checks, and in a somewhat familiar scenario to Jesse, he turns a straight against Ravi,
who this time will just call.
Which is not a very good call at all with 3 clubs out on the board, Ravi
Yeah.
having no clubs in his hand.
It's not like you're going to get really paid when you make your straight. Jack on the river. Jesse is going to win this pot.
Unless maybe Ravi goes all in.
I still think he'd win. I don't think Jesse's folding.
Would you be happy calling here if Ravi went all in
I
for
don't
2
know
times
that
the size
I
of
would
the pot?
say I'd be happy about it, but I mean at that point he's saying he has what, queens or no? He just bet his clubs on the flop. I just don't believe that he would check clubs out of position there. He's basically telling me he has queens or ace king.
I think if Jesse bets here and Ravi does go all in, it's a very difficult call for Jesse.
Oh, I thought you were saying that Jesse was just going to open cram for 2x pot, and I was just like, nah, I don't think I'd fold. Even if he check jams.
400,000.
Jesse's gonna wager 400,000.
Jesse betting half the size of the pot here.
He's giving Ravi something he can call. but he gets away this time.
Ravi will fold, Jesse picks up the pot. We will start with Taylor.
Taylor with the 5-6 offsuit on the button, and I think this is probably right around the cutoff of the hands he's folding or opening, based on what we've seen.
160.
Raised to 160.
He does elect to open.
Yep.
160,000.
Ravee with a fun hand in the small blind, Queen 10 of diamonds. From what we've seen, I will be expecting him to call here.
Call.
You're going to call the 160,000.
Jesse coming along too.
The big blind will
Another one of those hands that seems really close. I mean, we're only 30-ish blinds deep.
Yeah,
Very
I
raggy queen.
would be
normally
folding the Queen 3.
And the flop is 4 of clubs, Jack of spades, 8 of
Nobody
clubs.
really connects here. Ravee with a gut shot to the 9. Taylor with a gut shot to the 7.
Check.
Jesse will check. And back to the button. Taylor, he will also check. Turn card is the 3 of spades.
Well, more outs for Taylor now.
Back to red.
And pair for Jesse.
Check.
Ravi will check.
Check.
And Jesse will check. Taylor checks on the button. Here's the river card.
It's checked around.
It is
And an
the
8 on the
of
river.
hearts.
So, assuming it checks around one more time, Jesse's going to get a nice pot here.
Check.
Ravi checks.
Check.
And Jesse will check.
Taylor, though, has got the bottom of his range here. He knows none of his opponents have a jack or an 8. He's got to be real tempted to just go for it. And that's what he's thinking.
And Taylor will bet
280.
280,000.
I'm not really a big fan of this. I would expect him to bet 8s on the turn a decent amount of the time. Certainly expect him to bet any jacks that he had checked back on the flop. What do you think Taylor's repping here for value?
5, 6s, 7s. I don't know. It's definitely a weird little play here, but again, you cannot win at showdown. None of your opponents appear to have anything. I don't blame him for making this little punch at it. I agree that he's not repping many hands.
Right, so the question is Jesse going to piece that together and make the call here with a pair of 3s? We have seen Jesse earlier in this 3-handed match fold top pair 10 jack to Taylor.
Yeah.
And that was a much different situation. That was a
Triple barrel situation.
situation, but he could be getting tired of folding to Taylor's bets on the river in general. Jesse, for years, played high-stakes cash games online. He is very good at understanding ranges and understanding what people are representing, so this is why he's thinking about it. You know, although the absolute value of his hand is quite weak here, all he has is a bottom pair of threes, the relative value is somewhat high, but he does end up folding.
Yeah, he gets away with it. What did we set the line at? 830, 838 was it?
838.
Oh, man, I'm in great shape.
You're looking good.
You need such a cooler for this thing to be over in 40 minutes. I really think I set a fish line too, but should have been more like 8 o'clock. Ravi here with a suited queen on the button.
Raised to 180.
Ravi's going to make it 180,000 there from the button. Over to Jesse now on the small one. He will fold. And Taylor in the big blind. He will call.
So we flops open-ended here. Overcard and a backdoor. Taylor with top pair, top kicker.
Back over to Ravi.
And it is 2 1/4 from Ravi. You expect Taylor to call here, right? Nothing
Of
else?
course.
There's much too deep still to go a little wild.
Yeah, I think calling would be the only play. We've already seen Taylor only call with 2 pair twice. So if he were going to check raise here, it would really surprise me.
8 on the turn does not connect for Ravi. The way he's playing, I anticipate he'll just barrel, even though, yeah, I'm down with a barrel. Oh man, that's surprising.
Interesting check by
so
Ravi.
bad at predicting what he's going to do.
And that kind of goes back to the hand where Jesse called him down with the King 5 when Ravi had the 6-9. We were questioning, well, you know, if he did have the up and down straight draw there, would he just fire 3? And this hand might be the answer to that question. This is the first time we've really seen Ravi in that type of situation, and he elected to check the turn.
If you're tailored, you better check this river.
I would be betting after seeing Ravi look me up with 10 high.
Yeah, that's a good point.
620.
That's 620,000.
That's a large bet. I would be betting smaller, just hoping that Ravi calls with something crazy or just calls for information. Or well, here he has a queen high and he's pondering.
He's like maybe he's got Jack 5. What the hell?
Ravi thinks better of it, and he lays it down. Disciplined fold by Ravi there with the queen high. Taylor Paur, originally from San Clemente. He now lives in El Dorado Hills, California, which is about 35 miles east of the Thunder Valley Casino here in Lincoln. Taylor has over $2.7 million in live tournament earnings, the biggest score of which was the Bay 101, which happened less than a week ago. He took first place for over $1.2 million. In addition to his poker accolades, winning the 2010 Card Player Online Player of the Year. His name online was Paur.
Yep.
Check.
Long-time online poker legend. Well, nobody. Oh, excuse me. Ravi flops bottom pair here on ace king 6.
Taylor checks.
Check.
Ravi checks. Turn card is the 3.
3 on the turn doesn't change anything.
Taylor bets 110,000.
Call.
Ravi will call.
Taylor bets out, and Ravi quickly calls.
River card is the 7 of clubs. We're going to start with Taylor.
And Taylor is going to bet again.
80,000.
Ravi,
180,
not
which
even
is
a
a
question.
small
I
bet.
call.
Curious as to why Taylor chose to bluff with that hand there. But it does seem like Taylor does do quite a bit of bluffing with hands that don't have that much equity.
Yeah.
Something I have picked up on from Taylor is that specifically in pots against Ravi, he has tended to bet rather small when he is bluffing and rather large when he has value hands.
I think that's probably a good tactic against him.
Yeah. Now, of course, that was different when he got to the river against Jesse. In the hand where Jesse had Jack 10, I believe he bet closer to 60% pot in that hand on the river, getting Jesse to fold his top pair there. And here Taylor looks down at ace 10 of spades on the button.
That was a pretty sick bluff by Taylor. I mean, it was a triple barrel with no equity, and in a spot where every single draw on the board missed with the middle card pairing. But it's like I said, okay, that bluff would have been the worst bluff of all time against Ravi, but it makes plenty of sense against Jesse, because Jesse's sitting there like, why would you ever bluff this river?
Right.
That would be a terrible idea. Therefore, I can't be good. You're too smart to bluff this river.
And here we have something interesting happen, something we haven't seen at all.
A Ravi 3-bet.
A Ravi 3-bet out of the small blind with Jack Queen.
We haven't seen any Ravi 3-bets. Like, I don't know if this might be the first Ravi 3-bet in 8 hours.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, we saw the call and then back raise 4-bet with aces.
But Taylor is not going to go anywhere with ace 10 of spades.
No, he's got the ultimate flatting hand. What the? Oh, okay.
I think he's counting out his chips here.
Yeah, I was going to be real surprised if he just slid the pinks in there.
Call.
That's what we're expecting.
Maybe trying to elicit some type of tell from Ravi, but nothing more than posturing.
Yeah, that is all Taylor.
It's a very good flop for Taylor. He flops a wheel draw, he flops 2 overcards, and of course he flops a nut flush draw. And Ravi checks the board pretty quickly.
Might
And
escape
Taylor
relatively
quickly checks
unscathed.
behind.
What in the hell?
I'm not a big fan of that check at all.
Yeah, let's go.
Now Ravi with nothing but queen high reaching for chips, perhaps thinking, well, my hand looks a lot like ace king or ace queen.
Yeah, I think this bet's pretty reasonable. The problem is I don't think it really gets anything in Taylor's range to fold. I don't know, what can Taylor
I mean,
really have that he's folding?
Broadway cards.
Yeah,
but
Broadway cards.
That's
That's about it.
When Taylor continues on the turn, I wouldn't bluff the river.
And the river card is the 10
Just in
clubs.
case.
Back to Ravee.
Now this is a big pot. There's 2 million chips in the
Yeah.
pot. Taylor has 2.7 million behind, so 2.7 million effective behind. Ravee thinking about what he wants to do here.
Don't do it, Ravee.
Check.
Ravee checks.
Ravee does think better of it and checks. And now Taylor is going to bet here. He's going to bet a size where hopefully he can be looked up by a hand like 8 high. If Ravee does so choose to make another interesting call on the river.
465.
Taylor bets
And he does bet less than 1/4 pot. This should be an easy fold here for Ravee.
And Ravee will fold.
He does let it go.
Taylor picks up the call.
Taylor picks up that one.
And we will start with Ravee. Ravee will fold. Back to Jesse now in the small blind.
Call.
He will call the 80,000. Taylor will check his option. Here we go. 10 of diamonds. Queen of
Taylor
diamonds,
outflops Jesse
4.
here with King 4 versus King 6 on King 10-4.
We have another pot where Jesse limps a small blind.
Check.
Jesse will check. Taylor bets 80,000. And Jesse will
Taylor
fold.
bets 80,000 and wins.
Taylor picks up the pot.
Here are the updated chip counts. Jesse Rockowitz, just shy of 2 million, and then Taylor and Ravee are very close in chips. Taylor is the chip leader with 4.85 million chips, and Ravee with 4.55 million. So we're back in a familiar situation, Tony, where Jesse is the short stack. Ravee and Taylor are battling back and forth for supremacy. And we have been three-handed for a long time at this WPT final table.
Yeah, we really have. This is one of the longest three-handed matches I've seen. Remember one of our previous final tables, four-handed, lasted good 5 hours, but this has got to be approaching 4 or 5 hours of three-handed, right?
Yeah.
Ravee picks up the blinds on the head.
And a 45
Now, the longer the match goes, does it benefit the pros? Does it take Ravee off his game, more so being an amateur because he's not used to it?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think Taylor's got years of experience of playing poker for 8 to 10 hours at a time for a week on end. Ravee does not have that. Jesse too, of course. Although my guess is cash sessions are a bit shorter than tournament sessions.
Ravee folds the 10-7 out of the small blind. We'd seen him defend that hand in the small blind earlier.
What is Jesse doing the big blind? He walks the fold. Now down to 2 minutes left in this level. 2 to 1. Ravee will be first.
Ravee with the 8-6 of spades on the button.
Raised to 180.
He will raise to 180,000.
He makes it 180, and now Jesse has ace-jack in the small blind.
Pretty sure he's just going to go all in, right?
Well, he
maybe not.
has 23 and a half big
Yeah.
blinds behind. I would expect him to be making a 3-bet here.
Re-raise
And he does go
All
all
in.
in.
Jesse has declared himself all in.
Taylor folds his threes,
Count has been requested.
and Ravee says, "Give me a count." Huh?
1,915,000 total.
1,915,000 total wager.
Ravee will let it go.
And Ravee will fold.
Definitely makes me wonder if this was an hour-long level tournament, what happened in the lead-up such that these guys reached the final table with such deep stacks? I mean, there must have been some serious confrontations,
Yeah.
coolers and whatnot.
Now, you do prefer a shove there to a 3-bet with 24 big blinds?
I think it's close. I don't know if one is definitively better than the other.
100,000 blinds.
It's a little tempting with that hand to just, you know, go 3x and let Ravee make a overly loose call.
Right.
And then rip most
But then,
flops.
of course, what happens when the board comes, you know, 10, 7, 5 with 2 diamonds?
Probably just all in.
Yeah.
Just shrug all in.
Yeah.
Call.
But when the board comes 4, 5, 6 with 2 diamonds, now you can check fold?
Yeah, you know what? Considering what I've seen Ravee do, I'm not sure there's any textures on check folding.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm just anticipating that Ravee is, you know, we've seen him peel stuff like 8-deuce suited. You know, if you have some sense that he's just peeling a ton of 3-bets there, as long as they're not all ins, there might not be a texture that I check fold on. I don't know. You have ace-jack. Maybe if it came like 8, 7, 5 monotone in a suit you didn't have or something really extreme. But otherwise, I just can't imagine myself letting Ravee have that pot when I think that his flatting range is some huge percentage of his opening range.
Whoa!
Ravee declares himself all in.
What is going on here?
Duh.
Jesse and Taylor both fold.
So just to recap what happened there, Jesse limped the button. Taylor raised about 3 times the big blind, and Ravee straight went all in for how many big blinds effective with Taylor? About 60?
Yeah.
And he wins the pot. But it maybe A7 is a favorite hand of Ravi's. Earlier we saw him 4-bet the A7. So he certainly...
You think it might be something superstitious?
It could be his favorite hand.
Is level number